Chapter 8. The Second Seal. The river rose like it had been waiting centuries for permission. It climbed behind Elias in a black wall, lifting trash, branches, oil slicks, dead fish, and pieces of old wood from the riverbed. It made no sound at first. That was the worst part. No roar, no crash, only height, only impossible motion. The witness held Elias by the arm with fingers like iron. "Do not fight the water," it said. Elias looked at him like he was insane. The creature charged across the service platform, antlers lowered, claws tearing sparks from the concrete. Its face flickered between Elias and the burnt thing beneath him. "Then what the hell do I fight?" The witness turned its ruined star face toward him. "Your need to control it." Then the river hit. The black wall swallowed them both. Elias lost the world. There was only impact, cold, crushing, violent. The water slammed him backward, spun him upside down, tore the breath out of him, and drove him into something hard enough to knock white light across his vision. He kicked. Wrong. The current took his kicking and used it against him. He twisted. Wrong again. The river rolled him like a corpse. His shoulder hit metal. His ribs screamed. His mouth opened and river water flooded in, tasting of mud, rust, gasoline, and something older underneath. Not natural. The old road was in the water now. He could feel it. A current beneath the current. It was not pulling him downstream. It was pulling him toward the courthouse. Elias stopped fighting. Not because he trusted the witness, because he had nothing left. His body went loose. Instantly the violence changed. The river still carried him, but now it carried him like a hand instead of a fist. He tumbled through dark water, past the drowned headlights of cars that had slid halfway off the bridge, past a woman clinging to a street sign, past a bus stop ripped from concrete. Then he saw the witness moving beside him. Not swimming, folding through the water. Its torn face glowed with cold stars. Its feathered coat spread behind it like wings made from night. The witness pointed ahead. Elias turned. The courthouse dome burned gold above the city. Even underwater, he could see it. The light bent through streets, foundations, sewer lines, buried pipes, basements, root systems, graves. Everything in the city had become transparent to that light. And beneath the courthouse, something enormous was turning. The second seal. The river spat Elias onto marble steps. He landed hard, rolled, and coughed until his throat felt stripped raw. Rain hammered the courthouse square, but it was not falling straight down. It fell in spirals. People ran in every direction, slipping on wet pavement, screaming into phones that showed only static. Car alarms howled. Traffic lights flashed all colors at once. The old bronze statue in front of the courthouse had turned halfway around on its base and now faced the building, head bowed like it was praying. Elias pushed himself onto his hands and knees. The courthouse towered above him. Its windows glowed gold. The doors were open, not wide open, just enough, like an invitation. The witness appeared beside him, water pouring off its coat but never touching the ground. "Inside," it said. Elias coughed again. "No." The witness stared down at him. Elias wiped mud from his face. No more riddles, no more half answers, no more walk the road and pay the debt and all that ancient cryptic bullshit. The witness said nothing. Elias got to his feet, swaying. "You want me to go in there? Tell me what's inside." The witness's eyes dimmed. "The courtroom, obviously." "No," the witness said. "The first courtroom." Lightning flashed overhead. For 1 second, every shadow in the square pointed at Elias. Then the thunder came, not from the sky, from under the courthouse. Elias looked at the open doors. "The first courtroom," he repeated. "The place where man first learned judgment." Elias laughed, almost hysterical. Great. Perfect. Because tonight was missing legal symbolism. The witness grabbed him by the collar and shoved him toward the steps. "Listen carefully. The first seal woke the road. The second seal will appoint the judge. If the thing wearing your name reaches it first, it will not chase you anymore." Elias swallowed. What will it do? The witness looked toward the flooded street. It will sentence the city. A scream cut through the square. Elias turned. Across the courthouse lawn, the creature rose from the floodwater, but it did not come alone. People followed it. Dozens of them. No, not followed. Dragged. Invisible lines of red light extended from the creature's cracked body into their chests. Men, women, police officers, paramedics, drivers, people in pajamas from nearby apartments. Their eyes glowed faintly red. Their feet scraped over the pavement. The creature had turned them into witnesses. It lifted its head. Its face was Elias's again. "Run!" it called. Elias's own voice echoed across the square. "Run, little alchemist!" Elias ran. He bolted up the marble steps and through the courthouse doors. The second he crossed the threshold, the city disappeared. The rain stopped. The screams stopped. The alarm stopped. The courthouse interior stood silent and dry, lit by old yellow lamps that should not have been on at this hour. Elias slowed. His boots squeaked on polished stone. The witness followed him inside. The doors behind them remained open, but beyond them was not the square anymore. Only darkness. Elias whispered, "That's not good." "No," the witness said. "It is not." The courthouse lobby stretched farther than it should have. Marble columns rose into shadow. Old portraits lined the walls, their painted eyes turned toward Elias as he passed. The air smelled of paper, dust, cold metal, and rain-soaked wool. Ahead, the grand staircase climbed toward the second floor. At the top stood a woman. Elias stopped. She wore a dark suit from another century. Her hair was pinned tight. Her face was stern, beautiful, exhausted. In one hand she held a ledger. In the other, a brass key. She looked directly at Elias. "You are late," she said. Elias glanced at the witness. "Friend of yours?" The witness lowered its head. "No. Clerk of the second seal." The woman began descending the stairs. Each step she took made a sound like a gavel striking wood. "Name," she said. Elias hesitated. The witness spoke sharply. "Careful." The woman's eyes flicked to the witness. "This proceeding has already begun." Elias felt the trap immediately. Names mattered here. The creature had worn his name. The city had heard it. The debt knew it. If he gave it again in this place, maybe he handed over something he could not get back. The woman stopped 3 steps above him. "Name," she repeated. Elias lifted his chin. "No." The lamps flickered. The ledger in her hand opened by itself, pages flipping violently. "No," she said. "No. That is not a name. It's the only one I'm giving you." For the first time, the woman smiled. Barely. "Objection noted." The front door slammed shut behind him. Elias spun. A sound came from the other side. Scratching. Long, slow, deliberate. The creature had reached the doors. The clerk turned and walked back up the stairs. "Court is convening." Elias followed because every other option was worse. At the top of the staircase, the hallway divided into 3 directions. Left was lined with doors marked with dates from the past. Right was lined with doors marked with dates that had not happened yet. Straight ahead stood a single pair of tall wooden doors. No date. Only a symbol carved deep into the wood, a scale. But the scale was wrong. One side held a feather. The other held a burning heart. Elias stared. The witness leaned near him. "Not judgment between good and evil," it said. "Judgment between weight and truth." The clerk unlocked the doors with the brass key. The doors opened inward. The courtroom beyond was impossible. It was larger than the courthouse, larger than any building. Benches stretched into darkness, filled with shapes that might have been people or memories of people. The ceiling was a night sky with no stars except one red point burning directly above the judge's bench. The bench itself was empty, for now. In the center of the room stood 2 tables. At one sat nothing. At the other sat Elias's satchel, dry, intact, waiting. Elias walked toward it slowly. The moment his hand touched the satchel, the courtroom murmured. Thousands of voices whispered from the benches. "Thief! Seeker, fool, fire-bearer, son, orphan, witness. Elias pulled the satchel open. Inside were his notebook, the cracked quartz, one bent tuning fork, the lighter, the brass compass, and the black stone. The stone no longer glowed. It beat like a heart. The clerk stood before the empty judge's bench. "The matter before the court," she announced, "is the unauthorized opening of the old road, unlawful awakening of buried current, theft of sealed fire, endangerment of the living city, and attempted passage without balance." Elias blinked. "You've got to be kidding me." The courtroom fell dead silent. The clerk looked at him. "Does the accused wish to speak?" Elias opened his mouth. The witness grabbed his wrist. "Do not defend yourself." Elias turned on it. "Then what am I supposed to do?" "Testify." Before Elias could respond, the doors behind them exploded inward. Wood splintered across the courtroom. The creature stepped through. The red-lit people followed behind it and filled the aisle, wet, shaking, eyes burning. The creature wore Elias's face perfectly now. No antlers, no cracked skin, no claws, just Elias, calm, dry, smiling. It adjusted the cuffs of Elias's coat. "Apologies," it said. "I believe I am also required." The clerk looked at the thing. "Name." The creature smiled wider. "Elias Vale." The courtroom answered. "Accepted." The word rolled through the benches. Elias felt something tear inside him, not flesh, identity. He staggered and grabbed the table. The creature turned toward him with a polite smile. "You should have answered when called." The clerk wrote in the ledger, "Identity claim recognized." Elias's pulse thundered. The witness went rigid beside him. "What does that mean?" Elias whispered. The creature answered instead, "It means I can stand in your place." The red point above the judge's bench brightened. The empty chair behind the bench began to move. Something was arriving. The second seal was choosing a judge. The creature stepped to the center of the courtroom and faced the bench. "I submit confession," it said loudly. "I opened the road. I stole the fire. I endangered the city. I ask this court for immediate sentencing." Elias's blood went cold. The clerk looked down from the bench. "You confess?" The creature spread its arms. "I do." The courtroom murmured again. Confession, balance, sentence. The witness turned to Elias, and now there was no mystery in its voice, only urgency. "It wants judgment before you can testify. If the court accepts its confession as yours, the second seal opens under its authority." Elias stared at the creature. "What happens then?" The witness's torn star face flickered. "Then the city becomes the sentence." The judge's chair slammed into place. The whole courtroom shook. A figure appeared behind the bench. At first Elias thought it was a man in robes. Then the figure lifted its head. It had no face, only a mirror. And in that mirror, Elias saw every version of himself at once. The boy crying in the library, the man breaking into the vault, the teacher he never became, the dead body in the basement, the golden-throated tyrant on the courthouse roof, and behind them all, the thing wearing his name. The judge raised one hand. The clerk spoke. "All rise." Everyone rose, even the red-eyed people, even the witness, even Elias, though he did not mean to. The judge's mirror face turned toward the creature, then toward Elias. A voice filled the courtroom. Not loud, absolute. "Who stands accused?" The creature answered immediately. "I do." Elias forced air into his lungs. The courtroom tilted. The golden light under the floor began to pulse. Rings of symbols appeared around the judge's bench, spreading outward. The second seal was opening. The creature had almost won. Elias looked at the witness. For once the witness had no instruction, no ancient warning, no poetic riddle, only fear. That made Elias strangely calm. All his life he had wanted a hidden master to tell him what to do. A book, a teacher, a sign, a diagram that made chaos behave. But there was no final instruction. There was only the man standing in the fire and what he chose to say. Elias stepped into the aisle. "No." The courtroom turned toward him. The creature's smile vanished. Elias walked forward. No, you don't. The judge's mirror face fixed on him. Identify yourself, the witness whispered. Do not give it your name. Elias didn't. He stopped beside the creature. I am the one who did it. The courtroom erupted. The benches shook with voices. The clerk shouted, Order! The judge raised one hand, and silence fell so hard Elias felt it in his teeth. The creature leaned close, whispering through clenched teeth. You stupid little man, Elias whispered back. You wanted me to stop lying. The creature's eyes flared red. Elias faced the judge. I opened the road. I stole the stone. I built the chamber. I rang the frequency. I woke whatever was sleeping underneath us. The floor split with golden light. The judge listened. Elias continued, voice shaking but clear. I did it because I wanted power, because I wanted proof, because I wanted to matter, because I thought if I could command energy, nothing could hurt me anymore. The creature hissed, Stop! Elias looked at it. And I created you. The creature recoiled. The courtroom gasped. Elias pointed at it. But you are not me. The judge's mirror flashed. The red-eyed people in the aisle began to tremble. The creature's face cracked. Elias stepped closer. You are my hunger without my conscience, my wound without my love, my pride without my responsibility. You can wear my face. You can steal my name. You can confess my sins. He leaned in. But you cannot tell the truth for me. The black stone flew out of the satchel and hovered between them. The bent tuning fork rose after it. The judge lowered its hand. The second seal stopped opening. Not closed. Stopped. The creature screamed and lunged at Elias. The witness moved like lightning. It threw itself between them. The creature's hand punched through the witness's chest. Stars spilled out. Not blood. Stars. The witness gasped. Elias shouted, No! The creature lifted the witness off the floor and threw it into the benches. The shapes in the darkness scattered like birds. The clerk slammed the ledger shut. Violence before judgment is contempt. The creature turned toward her. Its human disguise burned away completely. Antlers exploded from its skull. Its body stretched, cracked, and blazed red. I am judgment, it roared. The courtroom ceiling split open. The night sky above shattered into moving gears of gold and black. The second seal began spinning out of control. The judge stood. The mirror of its face cracked down the center. The red-eyed people screamed and collapsed, the lines in their chests burning brighter. The creature was pulling power from them now, using the living as fuel. Elias grabbed the tuning fork from the air. It was bent nearly in half, useless as an instrument, unless it did not need to be perfect, unless he didn't either. He struck it against the edge of the table. The sound came out broken, ugly, wrong, but real. The black stone answered. A pulse of white light knocked the creature back a step. Elias struck it again. The sound wavered. The red lines attached to the people flickered. Again. The tuning fork cracked. The creature staggered. Again. The fork split open, slicing Elias's palm. Blood ran down the metal. The next note came out alive. The courtroom changed, not repaired, not healed, humanized. The perfect geometry of the seal faltered as Elias's blood entered the frequency. The old machine had been built for purified tones, sacred metals, chosen names, ritual phrases. It had not expected a wounded man with a broken tool telling the truth. The red lines snapped. The people collapsed fully, free. The creature howled. The judge's mirror face turned toward Elias. Testimony accepted. The clerk opened the ledger again. Identity claim contested. Confession divided. Sentence delayed. Elias almost fell from relief. Delayed was not victory, but it was not death. The creature rose slowly. Its body burned hotter than before. You think delay saves them? It swept one massive arm toward the unconscious people, the broken ceiling, the spinning seal. You think truth closes what you opened? Elias stood over the black stone, blood dripping from his hand onto the floor. No. The creature smiled. Elias looked up. I think truth buys time. Then he slammed his bloody palm onto the black stone. The courtroom vanished. Elias fell through the judge's mirror. He saw the city from above, not as streets and buildings, as a body. Roads were veins, rivers were nerves, power lines were thoughts. Cell towers pulsed like artificial glands. Churches, courthouses, schools, hospitals, bars, prisons, libraries, all of them sat on pressure points in the ancient grid. And beneath the courthouse, the second seal burned like an infected organ. He saw the first seal below the river, broken, bleeding energy upward. He saw the second seal inside the courthouse, delayed, unstable. Then he saw the third. His breath stopped. The third seal was not under a building. It was under people, hundreds of them, maybe thousands, all gathered at the old fairground on the edge of the city, standing in a spiral beneath floodlights. Their mouths moved together. They were humming the low tone. In the center of them stood a woman in white, holding a microphone. Behind her, on a massive screen, was Elias's face. The creature's stolen face. The crowd chanted one word: fire, fire, fire. The vision snapped. Elias crashed back into the courthouse aisle. The creature was gone. So were the red-eyed people. The judge sat motionless behind the bench, its cracked mirror face dim. The clerk stared at Elias with something almost like pity. The witness lay broken among the benches, stars leaking from its chest. Elias crawled to it. "Hey," he said, shaking. "Hey, don't do this cryptic dying thing. I still need answers." The witness laughed weakly. It sounded like pages burning. "You finally asked the right question." "What question?" The witness's star face flickered. Not how to open the door. It gripped Elias's wrist. How to become worthy of closing it. Elias swallowed hard. The witness pressed something into his bloody palm. A key. Not brass. Bone. Carved with the same scale symbol. "The third seal will not test your truth," the witness whispered. "It will test your desire." Elias looked toward the shattered courtroom doors. Far away, beyond the courthouse, beyond the sirens and storm and broken streets, a crowd began to chant loudly enough for the sound to reach him. "Fire! Fire! Fire!" The witness's grip tightened one last time. "Whatever you see there," it said, "do not accept the crown." Then every lamp in the courtroom went out, and in the dark, Elias heard the city begin to sing.